All right, I do believe that we are live. I'm going to wait until I can see myself on the screen and then we're going to get going. Okay, there we go. So welcome everybody. It is Wednesday, Tuesday, or not Wednesday, Tuesday. It is Wednesday, February 25th of 2026. Last night we had the State of the Union. Got some cool news going on in the week. For those that are just joining, maybe you're in the live playback, maybe this is your first time here. What we do on this channel is we start the stream off with an overall wellness check on the crypto market. Once we get through that, we look at silver and gold, we look at oil, we look at the US stock market, we look at the Japanese bond market. Sorry if I'm a little out of breath. I usually kind of moving around before I start these up and down stairs and so forth. Apologies for the guys. I had the stream scheduled, but I forgot to hit the post button, which is why we're basically just coming in fresh. So if you were looking for it in the scheduled streams, that's why it wasn't there. Not that I didn't, it's not that I forgot, I just did not complete the process. So I'm going to say good morning to all the regulars, and we're going to then just jump straight in. We had some pretty nice stuff happen overnight. I think you guys are going to be pretty happy. So good morning, Scorpio. I'm happy that you like the H-bar video. There's going to be more stuff like that coming soon, by the way. You guys know I love XRP and Flare. It's about time we start talking about H-bar as well. Good morning, Gangsta, and good morning, Christopher. So I'm going to be hopping over here. Streaming setup. By the way, I already updated my Flare spreadsheet. We'll get into that later on in the stream. For now, let's stick to the market update. So everything overnight has moved pretty well. Pretty well, all things considered. We're still down like 70% in some coins, but things have been moving. XRP back up to 144. Bitcoin moved a little bit, but not quite like the altcoins have. Let's just take a look at Bitcoin. So in the past 24 hours, if you were paying attention just before the State of the Union address, there was this very sharp vertical line. We see these commonly in crypto, but we haven't seen one of these in a while. This is usually something that doesn't happen unless there's a rally either inbound or already in progress. Kind of cool to see this. We don't know exactly what caused this, but this is a pretty significant spike. Bitcoin went from 64,000 to about 66 in a matter of minutes, you guys. That's actually a pretty big deal. It did a little bit of leveling out, but then it actually continued to rise overnight. Right now, we are in the midst, live as I'm talking, of the market is, continuing to move up. So we'll see where things land by the end of the stream. This is pretty cool. This is unexpected. I've been a little pessimistic lately. I thought maybe we were going to continue going down. If you've been in the crypto game long enough, you know that one day's movement is not enough to rest your laurels on. So we'll have to keep monitoring things. But at least in the past 24 hours, the trend is green. It's basically green across the board. Very few coins are doing bad. And if you look at a 24-hour chart, here on CoinMarketCap, it goes by 1 hour, 24 hours, and 7 days. Aside from stable coins, which by the way, you'll see USDC is a stable coin, just about everything is green. I'm seeing very little here that is not green. We got here at 38th place is Memecore. We don't buy that on this channel anyways, but they're down. Very few coins are down right now. The rest are mostly stable coins. You see Global Dollar is a stable coin. You see Ripple USD, that's one of our favorites. That's a stable coin. Okay, cool. Not too worried about those. The general purpose coins out there, all green across the board. Some of them are actually ripping right now. Filecoin being one of them, up almost 23% over the past 24 hours. So this is pretty cool. We see this kind of stuff usually at the beginning of a bull cycle. So does that mean that we've officially turned the page? I'm not going to say that's necessarily what's happening, but we're looking at the market and this is just how it's happening, at least today. We'll see if this trend continues. I was of the mindset we were going back down to $1 for XRP. So let's just see how all of this plays out. By the way, Pretty cool. We're seeing Morpho right here at 18%. I don't actually own any Morpho, but I've been using the Morpho platform to stake my FXRP and get some yield. So this is pretty cool. Nice to see another network out there getting some growth here. But I'm not a Morpho owner. I'm not sure that I'm going to be buying Morpho. So just kind of take all of that with a grain of salt. But I'm happy to see that this is some positive traction. Very cool because they've developed a platform for us to stake and do some borrowing and lending with both our Flare assets and our FXRP. And we're going to look at some of that later on in the stream. So you'll be able to see in real time what exactly I'm talking about with that. So great news basically across the board. This has been a good 24 hours. As long as this continues, I think we're going to see a lot of relief in this market. And, you know, the sentiment in crypto has been pretty bleak the past couple of months. So I don't know about you guys. I'm ready for some good news. I'm also prepared for bad news. What do I mean by prepared? If things go down, I am going to be very rapidly accelerating my own buying strategy. So I've told you guys a little bit about this before, but I'll touch up on it again. By the way, Millpower is correct. If you guys don't mind, could you like the stream? It's going to help this get spread to the rest of YouTube while we're live. I've got a lot of money still in my regular retirement accounts. So you're going to be thinking about like your S&P 500 mutual funds. So if we go down another 10 to 15%, I'm prepared to convert a sizable portion of that over into a few different options. So one that I've already been doing, I've been buying the XRP ETF, Franklin Templeton's to be specific. But with the ETFs, you don't actually get any custody of the tokens. So for me, that's always been kind of a sore spot. I like to have my actual tokens. I'm strongly considering opening up a crypto IRA and rolling over I'll think about the values later on, but I'm thinking about opening a crypto IRA so that I can at least have the tokens. And that would give me the flexibility to buy more than just XRP in my retirement accounts. I'm kicking this idea around. I haven't done it yet, but it's something I'm strongly considering because I'm looking at these prices and I'm thinking, you know, if we only have 6 months until the next bull run, there might not be enough time to really dollar cost average into some of the bigger goals that I have. So, you know, that's on a personal level. If I do this, I will let you guys know what that strategy actually looks like. But for the meantime, let's just look at a few of our favorite coins just to see how we're looking. XRP's at $1.44, up from not all-time low, but up from a weekly or a monthly low. It got down to 133. I think, you know, CoinMarketCap doesn't show it on the 1 month chart, but I do believe we dipped very briefly into the 120s over the weekend. Even here on the chart, I'm seeing 131. I think you'd have to really drill into this to get it down to specifics, but I do believe over the weekend it very, very briefly touched the 120s. So to see this back into the 140s is pretty nice. It does mean that some of that stacking potential has gone away just a little bit, nothing crazy here, but we are at around 6% on the 24-hour chart. So happy to see this. At the end of the day, I'd like to see a lot more, you know, growth in this space in general. I think a lot of us would, but I can take it either way. If things go down, I'm going to be buying a lot. And if things don't go down, I'll just keep on dollar cost averaging. And at some point, you do want this to start making money. So you do have to kind of, you know, take the good with the bad. And that's why dollar cost averaging is so good. But we do have some opportunities here to put some big bags in. I know that people's bonus payout usually is paid out either in February or March. So I think some of you guys might have an opportunity. Not financial advice, but every time I ever got a bonus back when I was in the regular professional world, I invested 100% of it. So that would be a situation if I were still in a regular corporate job. If I was getting a bonus, just what I would personally do is look at some of my favorite positions in the crypto space, and I would probably be buying a very nice portion of some of my favorite tokens with that lump sum of money. HBAR has risen above 10 cents once again. This is very cool. It just goes to show things do look like they may be improving. Now, of course, if you've been in the space long enough, you know that anything can happen. We could be back down to 9 cents very fast. It's just the way crypto is. Let's see how things continue to play out for the remainder of the week. Looking down, my next two favorite are going to be neck and neck. They're going to be Flare and Quant. They usually hang out pretty close to each other here on the coin market cap. In the top 60s. I think that Flare is going to be a top 10 network before we know it, and I think that Quant will probably rise into that top 10 to top 20 range. So I see both of these coins very rapidly growing once we move out of this bear market. Filecoin's an interesting one. I see some people talk about it. I don't have any of it, but it's hard to ignore that they've had a 24% rise. I mean, look at that. This is the kind of growth that people get into crypto for, and we're watching this one actually play out in real time. Will be fun to see by the end of this stream. It's at $1.09 right now. Let's see what it's at an hour from now, because this thing is ripping in real time. I don't own any Filecoin, so just take all of this with a grain of salt. But we could, when crypto recovers, it recovers fast, and we could be seeing the beginnings of that. Algorand up 9% on the 24-hour mark. I know this is another one. This is on my watch list. I'm not actually buying Algorand right now, but it's something that I'm looking at. If we were to see some major appreciation of my favorite tokens like XRP, Flare, HBAR, I could see myself diversifying into Algorand just to have some, broader market exposure. But right now I'm only really buying 4 tokens. I see some movement in the chat. I want to just address real quick. I want to say good morning to Chris. I want to say good morning to Stav. And at Mill Power, I'm just going to read these out loud. Mill says, response to XRP. As I said to you privately, I think we saw XRP's bottom at 112. The numbers swing both ways, and it's not like they can just buy 5 billion whenever they want to. A double, triple occurs. Consider taxes too, but as a way to remove some of the pain of the loss. And then Mill says, for me personally, I'm against that practice. Now, I'm assuming when you're saying that practice, you're talking about the tax strategies, or not, I won't say manipulations, but kind of gamifying the system, if that's what you're referring to. And then below he finally says the best strategy there is dollar cost averaging and holding until huge profits. Very, very strongly agree with that. So I dollar cost average throughout the year, and then every once in a while there's an opportunity to put a large cash deposit down. Like I was saying a minute ago, getting a bonus payout at your day job, if you just get 10 grand that, just poof, it's in your checking account. I'm a time in the market, not timing the market kind of guy. So personally, when that cash hits my account, I'd either put 50% of it in right away, or if the markets are actually down pretty bad, like right now with the markets being as down as they are, I'd probably just put the full 10 grand in. Whatever the price is, the price is. Yeah, maybe it goes down another 10 to 15%, but also maybe it doesn't. You never know. The next rip could always be tomorrow. That's kind of the thing. So you get the money in before the next rip. If there's another dip, whatever. But if you get the money in before the rip, then obviously you're going to be pretty happy with that. So that's always been my strategy, is just if you got the money, put it in. Don't try to nickel and dime it too much. Just, stick that money in and ride the wave. So all around, a pretty cool morning. We're going to keep watching this as the day goes on. I did just see Filecoin go down to $1.08. So maybe its run is done for now. You can see it was basically a straight line from around 3 a.m. is when it started all the way to now. It looks like it may have peaked off at 109. Let's just kind of keep watching this as the day progresses. By the way, I'll probably only go to about 12 to 12:30 today so that I can get cracking on my next video. Trying to get more pre-recorded videos out. I know some people have said that they prefer the pre-records and that I haven't been doing them as much since I started streaming, so I'll try to find that happy medium. I know that there's some people that love the stream, so I'm gonna do what I can to try to find that happy middle ground. Now that we've gotten through the crypto update, I'm going to be looking at the bond market. Japanese bond market has gone up for the first time in kind of a while, right? Now it hasn't gone up much. It's at 2.13. We can see that over the past month, it's been basically trending downward. We saw on February 9th, it got to 2.3, and it's basically been going down ever since. So it bottomed out at a low of 2.04, which was just a couple days ago on February 23rd. Now it is slowly coming back up. So it's at 2.13. Why is this important? If you're new here, we're tracking the bond market because the world gets loans from Japan. The yen has had a historically very low interest rate, either at 0% or close enough to it that the actual interest is immaterial. With these bonds rising from 0 to 2%, even small changes in interest rate in Japan actually has some pretty far-reaching effects. And so if you have a Japanese loan and you're seeing the interest rates on the currency start to rise, it puts a lot of pressure on you to start paying back your loans early, or in some cases, what you might do before there was these interest rates is that you would just roll your loans, meaning, you get a 10-year loan, it's time to pay. Instead of paying, you actually get another loan, pay off the balance of the first loan, and you essentially extend your loan that way. That is they call that rolling. I believe they call that rolling the bones is the slang term for that. But if you have an interest rate of 2%, that starts to become an unattractive thing to do. And if this thing really spirals out of control, you could see some, beginnings of hyperinflation in Japan. You combo that up with the price of oil. I'm going to hit the refresh button. I don't think this one automatically updates. You combine that with the price of oil in Japan. Now, if the war in Iran does kick off and the Strait of Hormuz is closed, we could see the oil in Japan spike. Who knows? Could go to 20,000 yen, 30,000 yen, 40,000 yen. We'd have to see how that plays out. But if there is an oil shortage in Japan that's going to rise its price, it's going to mean that not only do you have these bond markets, which are rapidly accelerating, but then because all the yen is going into oil, there would be what's called a liquidity crisis. So there'd have to be a way to get all of this money back to Japan in a very rapid movement, and that is what's called the reverse carry trade. If you don't know, we think that XRP would be the vehicle for that. And that is why some people out there, myself included, are still thinking that there could be a black swan event that turns XRP from $1.45. Not price predicting, you guys. I'm just throwing this out as something to think about. It could go 20, 50, 100, 200. It all depends on how much yen is needed to solve the problem. So it's not like there's just going to be a magic number that XRP goes to. It's going to be proportional to what is needed to solve the problem. All we can know is that basically for every $1 trillion, we'll use USD, not yen, because it's easier for us. Every $1 trillion that gets converted back over to the yen to solve this problem would result in somewhere in the realm of around $10 to $15 worth of XRP. So if $1 trillion goes over, we'd probably see it go from 145 up to probably somewhere around $15 of an XRP. I think a lot of people would be pretty happy with that. If it takes more than $1 trillion, then, if it's 2 trillion, then you go to 30 and et cetera, et cetera. Now, what could happen with that is once you start to see XRP in those, those high 20s, low 30s in terms of price per token, That's when it starts to become more attractive for some of these banking purposes that we know about, back-end settlement of the stock market, replacing those Nostro Vostro accounts. So it's like a domino effect. Once the one domino falls, there'll be more dominoes that fall after it, and that's how you end up with these kind of wild, like, oh, we're gonna get that $200, $300, $400 XRP. It won't just get there from the reverse carry trade. It's just that the reverse carry trade would be the first thing to cause that price spike. So just kind of think about it from that perspective. That's why we track this every single day on this channel. Now, I do want to say, I've said it before, I'm not cheerleading for this to happen because I don't want to go to war with Iran. It's something, I'm here to make money and we're all here to make money, but at the same time, I have a life outside of money. These global conflicts are things that I cannot get behind. So I'm covering this. It's news. It's something that is in play. I'm not necessarily going to cheerlead for it. I don't think that what's going on in the Middle East is something the United States should be involved in. That's my own personal opinion. Everyone's allowed to think different things. But it's something I believe very strongly, that I don't want America involved in Middle Eastern affairs. I think that this era of global policing needs to come to an end. But I have to cover the news. If the Strait of Hormuz closes, we probably see the price of oil dramatically increase. We probably do see that reverse carry trade. I just want to kind of caution against celebrating over dirty money. And I'm not saying that we're dirty people for profiting off of it. But nonetheless, we would be getting rich off of another catastrophe. So just I want to put that sobering thought out there, because I actually kind of do think it's going to happen. And it's not something I feel great about. Silver's continuing to rise again. It's ripping. It's at $90 per ounce. Now there's some long contracts that expire tomorrow. It's going to be real exciting for us to kind of check in and see what happens with that. Millpower shared a video on my Discord, which, by the way, I forgot to put the link out here, but I'm going to do that now just in case any of you guys want to join. We're up to about 70 members in the Discord. It's actually growing pretty well, and we're having really good discussions here. It's totally up to you guys, but I recommend joining. It's a great way to meet your fellow audience. So Millpower shared a video. Silver has all these long contracts that expire in the next couple of days. The big ones expire tomorrow. If the people holding these contracts don't exit their contract early, as in if they don't pull out today, it means that the silver is going to get delivered. What does that mean? So the COMEX has physical silver in its vaults. It's going to have to start shipping that out to people that have ordered long contracts. Because basically a long contract is saying, like, on January 1st, I'm going to buy silver at the price that it is at on January 1st. But I'm not going to get it until March 1st, so like 90 days. Now, at any time during that contract, you can cash in. So let's say, January 1st, what was it? Let's say it's January 1st. You're saying, all right, I'm going to pony up. I'm buying silver. I'm paying $72 an ounce for silver. No matter what it's worth on March 1st, I'm getting that silver. So you could end up in a situation where you buy a whole bunch of silver for $72. Now, if silver went down to like 50, you'd feel pretty bad about that. But at least you would still get the silver. So I think buying longs kind of makes more sense than buying shorts. Because shorts, if I was going to short the market, I'm basically saying, all right, silver's at 72 right now. I think it's going to $50. So I'm going to basically take a collateralized loan, get a whole bunch of silver, sell it immediately, and then I'm going to sit on this contract for a while. Now, if at any point silver goes below 72, I can cash in my contract and take whatever profits there. But as you can see, it continued going up and up and up. So let's just say silver went to $200 and you've got this short contract at 72. you're going to end up being forced to buy a $200 silver, which is how people get liquidated. So I don't do leverage trading. I don't trade options. I stay out of the derivative market for that reason, because all it takes is one bad day in the market to actually quite literally bankrupt yourself. By the way, I see there's 45 of you in here. If you could do me a solid and just like the stream, that really goes a long way at helping this thing get spread. So rewinding a bit, these long contracts expire tomorrow. That means there's going to be fulfillment orders for silver to get delivered. Now, currently, I don't have the exact facts in front of me, but somewhere around in the realm of 280 million ounces of silver have been ordered on long contracts, but there's only roughly 90 million silver at COMEX. So doing some very simple napkin math there, you'll know that more silver has been ordered than what COMEX actually has. So that means that someone or something has to go out and mine all of that silver, or they're going to be in a situation where they can't fulfill those orders. It's going to end up becoming a problem. It basically means if you want silver, the price is going to have to go crazy high, because they're not going to be able to fulfill all 280 million ounces. So they might try to incentivize people to just cash out with paper and just say, hey, we can't actually mail it to you, so we're going to raise the price and just pay you out in cash. I'm sure a lot of people are going to accept that. But if you're someone who says, think about it, if you're like a freedom fighter, you hate the banks, you say, no, you're mailing me this silver come hell or high water, I'm getting my silver bars. If more than 90 million ounces of silver are obligated to be delivered and people don't take the cash out, you could be looking at a very, very, very ugly situation. And that's how we could see silver actually skyrocket, right? And so it's very similar to what we saw with the GameStop drama way back in 2021, but this time it's with silver. So really interesting stuff. I think we're going to start to see this play out tomorrow, and it'll be real interesting to see what happens with that. Gold's going to be the same case. It's at 5,200 right now. We're just going to keep watching this stuff. I'm kicking myself. I don't own any silver or gold. So for me, this is just a spectator sport. I know some of you guys are holding, and I'm excited for you. I'm watching this thing to see what happens. Stock market, nothing too crazy here. It's on the rise. The S&P 500 doesn't really swing quite like our favorite stuff in the crypto space does. So, you see a 0.5% movement in a day. Nothing too crazy there. But we are going to probably see the S&P 500 break into the 7,000s again before too long. So this is my update here on the overall wellness. I'm going to now jump over to my Flare spreadsheet. The staking reward I was expecting for today did not hit, so I moved the yellow box down to the 26th of February. If you're brand new here, if you need a refresher on what this is, I'm tracking my daily rewards, everything I'm doing with Flare and everything I'm doing with XRP. So all my Flare is in the blue box, all of my XRP is in the orange box. The green box is all about your pricing and like your quantities. The red box is the same thing, but for XRP. So far, Wrapped Flare is in first place. I expect that to change when I get my staking reward. The collateral pools have just slightly underperformed versus just having regular Wrapped Flare. There's a chance, though, with the FXRP caps being raised on F assets, it went from 120 to 120 million to 170 million. So we've got a 50 million cap raise on FXRP. I'd expect to see that turn into something, right? Like if I've got this collateral in here, anytime someone mints an FXRP, if my Flare tokens got used in that, I'm going to get an FXRP reward. So if there's a very large influx of minting going on, I could see that the collateral pool could be something that starts to outpace the Wrapped Flare again. And that's why we're running this for 6 months. We're going to have all the time in the world here to see, what really happens with all of this. So the experiment goes out to August 8th. We're very close on our first month's check-in. We've only got a couple of days here. I'll be making this on Sunday. Going to be a very exciting video, you guys, because there's been so much to cover since I shot that first episode. So keep an eye out for that. Mystic, doing pretty nice. I mentioned Mystic at the beginning of the stream. I may as well show you guys the platform. You'll see here I got 220 flare. These are my rewards for contributing my FXRP to the pools for borrowing and lending. So let me see if the dashboard looks better. Yeah, you can see I got 1,000 FXRP in here. The APY is not crazy. It's just 3%. I know that some people might say that that's not good enough. There's not a lot of options out there right now for XRP, so I will take what I can get. When there's better options out there available, I'm gonna be agnostic here. Whatever gets me the best result is where I'm gonna put my money. But right now, we just need to do some experimentations. 3%, kind of on the low end, but I'll take what I can get for now. You'll see that there's a few different options here. If you have wrapped flare, you can get 12% on that. It's an interesting thing to look at. This could be an option for people that maybe don't want to delegate and wrap. Well, it's still wrapped flare, but if you don't want to be delegating, you could wrap your flare but not delegate, and then come on here and be involved in the lending and the borrowing. It's at a 12%. This could be something interesting. I probably won't add this to my spreadsheet just because we started with 150,000 flare. I feel like it would kind of screw the data up if I were to just randomly one day say, hey, I'm throwing another 50,000 into Mystic to see how the how this thing goes. Plus, it would be part of the wrapped flare pool, so it'd kind of make it look messy. I'll probably leave that out. Maybe I'll experiment with it on a different wallet and make that its own thing. But at least for now, I'm not doing any wrapped flare here on Mystic. But this is cool stuff, you guys. I think this is only going to get better. Of course, Firelight is about to go live later this week. We just don't know the exact hour. Hugo Fillion, if you guys don't know, is going to be in Australia. Well, I think he's actually already there. I believe their conference, for them, it's going to be on Friday. For us, it's going to be Thursday if you're here in the United States. Let's see if we can get a start time on when this thing goes live. I think it's going to be, because we might even just do some coverage of it. That might be a cool thing to watch. So it's going to be Sydney, Australia on the 27th. That's going to be tomorrow for us, guys. The time zones there are like 12 hours ahead. So depending on when this thing starts, let's just go over here and look. Maybe we can get an itinerary. If it starts at 8 in the morning Australia, that's going to be, I believe it's if it's 6 p.m. here in the United States, I believe it's 10 a.m. in Australia. So I think that tomorrow this thing will kick off around 4 p.m. United States Eastern Time. So I'm keeping a look on this. I want to see if there's an itinerary. I do want to watch all of this. So I'll probably at least stream some of it. I'll be pretty casual about it. I probably won't talk much, and I'll just let them do the talking. So if you guys like that kind of stuff, check out the channel probably tomorrow night. A lot of very important folks going to be here. Brad, David, those are two very big names we all know here. The Bearable Bull, I see him a lot on Twitter. He seems to be pretty active there. Of course, we got Hugo down here in the bottom right. Pretty cool to see. I mean, if you just look at all the different names and like what they do, it's Ripple. Well, I mean, okay, David Schwartz is Ripple, even if if it doesn't say it. Ripple, XRPL, Ripple, Coinbase, influencer. But down here, you got co-founder of Flare. You don't really see a whole lot of other chains on this. Even I don't even know if there are other ones. So it's really cool to see, guys. It's just more reason to believe that Flare's the real deal. I want to see, do they have a schedule so that we know when Hugo goes live? Okay, morning sessions, the keynote presentations. I have to imagine Hugo's probably not a keynote presentation, so he's probably going to go in the afternoon, which means probably at the nighttime. I don't know. We'll just have to see, but I guess long story short, so this isn't a long-winded thing, I almost wonder if they're saving the Firelight vault increase for when Hugo's on stage, and then they can do one of those things. It's pretty common in like tech and video games for someone to be like, well, when's this thing available? Oh, it's available right now. We'll see. That's kind of my prediction. Cracking a window here. It's a little hot in my room. So we will see how that plays out. I expect something tomorrow. We got some movement in the chat. FNU asks, quant is at the lowest. We did go through the market analysis earlier, but it does seem like quant has moved the least out of all of our favorite coins over the past 24 hours. But quant seems to move on its own. So we might see quant move when everything else is flat. So we'll just have to kind of keep an eye on that one. I'm still super bullish on quant for its interoperability purposes. Some of the stuff that'll be covered at Ripple conference. They're going to be talking about stable coins. That's a big part of the Clarity Act. We got real world assets. That's going to be the tokenization. That's probably going to be the big thing going on this year. Everybody here loves cross-border payments. You guys know Nostro Vostro. That's the name of the game when it comes to XRP. As long as you take care of this, all the other stuff is kind of just like icing on the cake. If all XRP ever did was replace Nostro Vostro, anyone holding XRP will be, well, I guess it depends on how much you got, but I think a lot of us will be millionaires, and some people might even become billionaires. And I don't say those things lightly. So happy to see them talking about this some more. But in general, it looks like it's going to be a lot of the stuff we already kind of know. I'm hoping to get some good announcements out of this. Hey, look who's here. XRPL Japan. I mean, sometimes you just got to connect the dots and say, you know, who's attending these things and why them and not other groups, right? So to see Japan attending a Ripple conference, it just sort of says, hey, they seem to have a vested interest in XRP's success. Why would that be? I think you guys already probably know, but I just like to ask the questions. So cool stuff. When Ripple comes to Vegas, Ripple Vegas, let's see if that's also out here. I'm thinking about going to this. I haven't booked a ticket yet. If I buy a ticket to it, it's April 30th through May 1st. So general admission would be $589. Of course, they got to put the price at $589. If I went, I'd probably do the after party just purely for the fact that it's a good opportunity to shake hands with people. And there's a pool party. I mean, that's cool, I guess. I'd really go in there for the science, not necessarily the partying. But if I were to go, I'd probably just pony up and go to this. So all in, you're looking at about $1,000 just to get in the door. That's kind of a lot, but I'm thinking about just sucking it up and paying. It does look like there's a bundle, so I could get the general admission and the after party for $840. But if I do go to this, it's going to be April 30th through the 1st of May. That's going to be in Vegas. Could be kind of cool if some of you guys want to go. It'd be an opportunity. Probably won't happen all the time, but we could actually meet in real life. Just don't try to kidnap me or cut me up in a bathtub and steal my organs, and we should be good. There's 50 of you guys in here. If you could do me a solid and just like the stream, there's only 21 likes, but there's 50 of you here. The likes really honestly do help a lot because it tells YouTube to show the stream to more people. I'm going to try and get some itinerary here. Let's see what we can find out. It might, sometimes as it happens with these types of conferences, sometimes it might be the same stuff coming out of Australia. It might be the same stuff they talk about here. So that's not 100% always the case, but sometimes it can be. Paul Barron's going to be there. Doesn't look like they've got anything. You can't really interact with these, but we're going to hear from Paul. We're going to hear from Brad Garlinghouse. I don't really know Chris Giancarlo. I don't really know Ashish here, and I don't really know Caroline. So let's see who else we got. Oh, there we go. We're going to have David Schwartz there. So it does look like there might be some overlap of topics. I'd have to imagine there's probably some of that. I don't really know some of these names. I'm just scrolling through. Hey, there we go, guys. Hugo's going to be at Vegas too. The more I think about this, it's like, I don't want to say it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, but it is probably worthwhile that I go. So I'm heavily considering it, and I will update you guys more as I know more. Okay, it looks like this is a wheel that rotates. I want to see what days of the week would those be. Okay, so that would be a Thursday, Friday. Maybe I'm sticking around in Vegas for Saturday to just kind of hang out. That could be a cool way. That could be a cool way to do it. I'll think this one over. So that will be cool. Keep an eye out for that. We got about 2 months to figure it out. Well, actually, it'd be nice to see. Let's see how this one in Thursday goes. And if it seems like it's going to be the same topics, maybe I just go for the networking. If I do go, I'll do the same thing I did last time. I'm going to do my best to try to stream while I'm there. The streaming of the HBAR conference, it worked out pretty well. The venue had a lot of cross chatter, and they had some like really loud music, but it sounds like you guys weren't really bothered by it, so maybe this is something that we could definitely do. Otherwise, I'm good to go as far as the hardware is concerned. So this is cool. So what else do I have for you? I'm gonna start kind of wrapping these streams up a little bit early. I don't know if we really need 2 full hours. I mean, if we have good stuff to talk about, I'll just keep going. But if I get through all my topics, we'll probably just get through what we get through and leave it there. I just started working on my Hashpack journey here. The video came out yesterday. If you have HBAR, which I think some of you probably do, I'm not endorsing this yet because I need to see for myself that it works, but I'm at least putting my HBAR in it, and I will let you guys know over time how I like it. Some of you guys on here are way more experienced with Hashpack already, so feel free to chime in if you've got input there. We do also talk about it on the Discord, so if you're not already in the Discord, I do recommend joining. I do think that it's pinned in my comments live chat. Let me just double check on that. Yeah, it's in there. If you want to learn more about this, there's guys on the channel that know more about it than I do, and I'm happy to let them kind of lead the charge there. Just understand that anything you do besides having your tokens in a cold wallet has inherent risk. So just kind of be cognizant of that. I'm not putting a whole lot of HBAR in here until I know this thing works. But it is, for what it's worth, Hedera themselves have endorsed it. So this is kind of like Flare Networks, or this is kind of like HBAR's version of the Flare network. It's just, instead of Flare doing it themselves, it does look like it's a community project. So cool stuff there. Keep an eye on that. We'll probably wrap up the next 15 minutes with some of the current events. Oh, Chris asked, do you know what the rewards are on HBAR? I did speak with someone yesterday. We looked at the numbers. It's only 2.5%, and he showed me some of his data, and we did some napkin math. His realized actuals were 2.3%. That's kind of low, you guys. But at the same time, if you're not getting you can't do it anywhere else. You may as well take what you can get. I would like to have it be better than 2.5%, but I guess it's still more than zero. But then you also have to factor in anything outside of a cold wallet comes with some inherent risks. So even if that risk is 1%, you do have to ask yourself, is it worth risking my HBAR tokens for 2.5% stake? We'll see over time. As I use it, I can decide whether or not I trust it. It's not even necessarily that I don't trust it, but there's certain things that can happen, right? Like the Hashpack wallet, it's similar to Bifrost, so it's a different wallet. So there's a lot of user or operator errors that can come with that. Maybe you accidentally screwed up the transfer process and you basically yeeted your HBAR tokens into the in outer space to never be recovered again. That kind of stuff can happen. If you're holding your stuff on a cold wallet, that'll never happen. But if you're moving stuff back and forth from Hashpack to your wallet, there's the opportunity for user error to, you could throw away some tokens if you're not being careful. So it does come with some inherent risk there. One thing that does make it at least a little nicer. Where's my... usually when I go to this little thing here, I can click on... Oh, here it is. Okay. Maybe I won't sign into this right now because it might have some of my personal details on it. But if I sign into... I'm doing it on the monitor you guys can't see. Yeah, this is fine. Oh, this is my YouTube wallet. You guys, I don't care if you guys see this one. The address is up here, but if you want to steal 5 HBAR from me, go ahead. For what it's worth, this is a pretty easy to use once you got it. If I want to withdraw this thing, I could send this back to the wallet that it came on. Shouldn't be too hard to do, especially if you have your Decent integrated with this app, which I do. I just don't have the Decent on. You could save to an address book, right? So if you do that, you're always sending the exact same address. You don't have to copy and paste it each time. So there's ways to make this safer and ways to make it better. I just had to throw the disclaimer out there that if you screw it up, you can lose your tokens, right? So is that worth the 2.5%? It might not be for some people. I'm going to do it anyways. Hopefully someday that increases to be a little bit higher. I'd like to see, we can look through this together, but it says right here, the governing council has voted the following changes to staking that will be implemented on August 11th. The maximum staking reward is 2.5%. So there's chance that this could go up over time. But it's better than nothing, right? So I'm gonna experiment with this, and HBAR is gonna do very well, you guys, regardless of whether we're staking or not. So if you're gonna be buying HBAR anyways, why not just get the extra 2.5% on the top? Other than that, we're going to hit some quick news topics before I let you guys go. State of the Union was last night. I think it was kind of a nothing burger. There wasn't a whole lot that came out of it that I thought was not a whole lot of substance. What I was saying with the guys last night, it was all zip sauce and no steak. That's how I felt about that. So I was kind of hoping for some news about Clarity Act. Didn't get it. But, we still got good things going on in the market. We've got FXRP caps are being raised on F assets. We got the increase at Firelight coming soon. Uphold is allowing minting of FXRP directly from Uphold. So I think we're going to see a large influx of people hopping into this space. I don't use Uphold, but I have to imagine the Uphold app is probably going to put out some kind of banner encouraging people to do it. So that's a really good pathway for adoption. If we could get even to 1 billion FXRP, that's going to add a lot of stability for XRP to at least be able to say, hey, 1% of the total market supply is being used in DeFi. It's being used especially by retail, which is actually a really big deal. Retail will be using this before the institutions. So this is basically all I got for you guys today. Nothing too crazy. We got a tweet here from Firelight. Tune into our profile for a live stream. Here's our discussion about what's coming tomorrow at 3 p.m. UTC. What time is that? 3 p.m. UTC. Oh, okay. Well, if I was a betting man, I bet this thing goes live. I bet the Firelight cap increase goes live tomorrow at 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. Probably 10 a.m. I bet this thing is going to be the announcement. So let's put a pin in this. Oh, by the way, guys, I should probably mention this. I have a personal day coming up tomorrow, so I'm actually not going to stream tomorrow. So I'll have an actual announcement on the channel. That way you guys all know. But just keep in mind, no stream tomorrow. I got some stuff to take care of, and we'll pick up where we leave off Friday. I actually might stream at night. I might stream at night if there's going to be the Ripple conference, and if it's possible for me to watch it. I'll probably just watch it, and it'll be more of a casual stream. Don't expect a whole bunch of commentary from me, but if I'm watching it anyways, I may as well turn it into some content, right? So if I do that, but I probably will not do my normal market recap thing tomorrow, because I'll be taking care of other things during the day. So let's just kind of keep an eye on this. If this thing does go up, I'll see if I can find some time to squeeze in like a 4 or 5 minute video and be like, yo, the Firelight app is literally live. Go get your STXRP. But we'll cross that bridge tomorrow when we get there. Other than that, guys, I think I'm going to end today's video early. I'm going to be making more regular content at night and try to have more structured videos coming out through the week beyond just streaming. So for the past couple of weeks, I've really just been streaming. So thank you guys for hopping on. I'll probably see you guys tomorrow night, but definitely not during the day. And then we'll be back to normal on Friday. All right, take care. I'll see you guys soon enough. Get ready for that STXRP. It's coming soon. Take care.